Okay, here I am. Good morning to all of you. Let me see also the chat. Good morning. Good morning. Let me close also this software. Let me open AUTOCAD. Good morning. Good morning. Perfect. Buongiorno. Good morning. So, as usual, before we start, good morning. Let me know if you have, while we wait all other students to arrive, let me know if you have problems, questions, doubts, things that you would like to see. Just ask. Good morning. Good morning. So, questions, doubts, things that you would like to see. Feel free to ask. Because today we have to continue what we have started last week. Last week we focused more on the stairs, and I introduced elevations. Today we have to continue that particular thing, and we have to see sections, how to make sections. Okay. In the meantime, I'll try to fix. Okay, so someone asks, Tanya asks, hi Marco. Hi. I was trying to create a folder to start uploading parts of my project, but I was not permitted. No. Sorry, not Google Chrome, but here. So Drive. This is not possible. This is unacceptable. So AutoCAD. AutoCAD Homeworks. Share. Yes, I don't know why sometimes these things used to change. I really don't know. So, yes. Okay. I don't know why I'm experiencing this time to time. That is, sometimes the sharing permissions change by themselves without doing anything special, and they become like in read-only mode. So no, try now, and you should be able to place things inside. So if I copy the link and I go here and I paste it, if I click in here and I open this folder, and I'm not logged like myself, but yes, I can make a new folder, I can upload things. I mean, now it will perfectly work. Okay, So just if you want to try. Exactly, it works. I don't know, I honestly don't know, because from time to time sharing permissions in these Google Drive folders used to change, and it is something that it really doesn't depend on me, but it's just this annoying Google thing. Okay, something else? Something else that you want? Do you have doubt? Things that you want to ask me? Whatever. Because in the meantime, I can make a new file. Okay. And it is time today to explain sections. So let me know if you have questions, because if not, I will show you which is the concept behind, like we did last week basically. So I will really draw a lot on the board before doing then operations in AutoCAD. So let me know, first of all, okay, should we also place the furniture in the plan? Of course, yes. Of course you have to place furniture, and you can use, for example, blocks for furniture. So you can download them and you can use them inside your floor plan. But in order to, you can just make a floor plan and say, this is the kitchen. We need to see how the kitchen works. So where is the sink, the fridge, and stuff like that. Okay? Other questions? Let's see if there is someone else that want to ask me. Great. Let's see. Last chance to make me question. If not, I will show you how to make sections. And again, I will show you first drawing by hand, and then I will show you how to do them in AutoCAD. 3, 2, 1, go! Okay, no more question, and let's go to understanding how to draw sections. So I will just keep the chat there, and I want to explain you this. First of all, what is a section? A section is nothing else than an elevation, so the concept is the same. The only thing that changes is that instead of being outside an object, the section is an elevation that is made by being inside that object. So what really happens when we which is the real difference in between making an elevation or a section is only this. Look, let's say this is no, let's make a pyramid. It will be more visible. So let's say you have a pyramid. And exactly like this. If you make an elevation of the pyramid, what happens is that, imagine that you are here. So this is your viewing direction. Because the the vision, so the paper where you draw, is on a plane that is perpendicular to your viewing angle, making an elevation basically means projecting these vertices on your viewing plane, and what you see is you will see a triangle as elevation of this pyramid. But this is why, simply because you are outside the object, your visual plane is again outside the object itself. No! The pen fell on the ground. Give me a second. No, where is now? It's there. It's a disaster. Okay, sorry for the real-time inconvenience. So I was saying, this is called elevation. What happens when I want to make a section? Believe it or not, the concept is the same. The only thing that really changes is where this plane is. So, check this. I make again my beautiful pyramid. This one. I place myself standing in front of the pyramid again. So again, this is my viewing direction. The only thing that changes is that now, just by making another color, my viewing plane that is still perpendicular to viewing angle is intersecting the pyramid. So basically it is cutting this pyramid here, and the intersection between the pyramid and the plane is something that happens here, let's say. So what I see when I make a section is that I will see whatever is in front of my section plane, and I want to see whatever remains behind my section plane. So what happens is that because there is this intersection between my plane and the pyramid, I will start viewing this as a elevation. But in here, I will see my pyramid cut like that. And if, for example, the pyramid is hollow inside, I will see what is inside the pyramid, or the element that I have in front of me. So, what happens when we turn this concept into a technical drawing? It happens simply this. We don't draw in 3 dimensions, we draw in 2 dimensions. So when we, let's say again, when we have our pyramid and we see it from the top, the pyramid looks like this. We are here with our, and I will draw the plane in a very precise way. That is, I will draw it with a dash dot line. So when I make an elevation, my point of view is here. I look at the pyramid from here. So when I make an elevation, this is my vertical plane. I project these points like that. and this will be this point, this is this point. I should know how tall is the vertex so that my elevation becomes a triangle. When I make the section, the only thing that changes is that my dash dot plane is not outside, but it is cutting my object. So what happens is that I will see whatever remains on this side of my cutting plane, and I imagine that whatever remains in here is gone forever. So when I go to make my projection and I am in this situation here, I have to project only elements that are visible, that are in front of these, and I have to forget whatever is there. So I will project not more these vertex, but I will project these intersection here, these intersection there. I will project this point because I can see it. I will project these, and I will project that. In practice, making a section is like an elevation, just with these additional information. So, if I have an object, and again, I just draw it down here, and I see it from the top, this is the pyramid. This is my cutting plane, and I place it here. Mechanically, steps that I have to do are as same exact steps that I have shown you last week for elevation, and we have seen the elevation of a stair. This is the same. The only difference is that I will do this. On the section line, I will add 2 arrows to specify which side of my object I can see, so the one where arrows are pointing at, and I will specify which part I'm not able to see. Starting from this simple point, I will make, like I did for elevations, I will make a ground line. And a ground line must be perfectly parallel to my section line. So if the section line is horizontal, my ground line will be horizontal. If my section line is vertical, my ground line will be vertical. But they must be parallel. Then what I have to do is I have to see which are points that my ground plane is that my section plane is intersecting. My section plane is intersecting these, and this, and I will project them by using perpendicular lines to my ground line. But beside having cut points, I also have this vertex. There is something that is behind and is in front of my section plane, so I can see it, and I will project this thing as well. So what happens is very simple. It happens this. What I have to understand is that my pyramid, let's say, will have this height, and the pyramid is touching the ground here. So I should expect that the shape of the pyramid will be like this. But there is something more. There is, from this part is visible, and this part that is visible is what basically remains from my vertex till this point. That is the projection of these 2 points there. So this is something that I can see. So it will be a small part of an elevation, while in here this will be the section of my pyramid. And when I will draw it, I will draw these with thin line, and I will draw, let's use another color, I don't know, this one, no, green, I haven't used green, and I will draw this part as cut element of my pyramid. If we do this and we apply the same concept to a house, it would be unbelievable. Look, let me show you first in 3D, then in 2D again, but this would be amazing. Look, if we have a house, so what is called the section, technically yes, will be the green part, but the drawing that is called, in technical drawing, that is called section, is whatever is cut plus whatever is visible. So you have to draw both elements. And I will show you now better into a house example that it will be unbelievable. But see this. This is your house. And see this. If I make an elevation of this house, it will be very simple because it will look like this. I can just see this front face. If I make a section, let's say my section plane is cutting the house in half, and the intersection between my section plane and the house is cutting the house like this. It goes on the other side, so it goes inside the house. I will see roof thickness. I will see this other part of roof thickness. I will see this wall. See this wall. I will see floor thickness, and I will see this. So this is where my section plane is cutting my architectural object. But if I have things that are on this side of the house, I won't draw them. But if I have elements that are on this side of the house, that is the direction that I have set for my section, so here no, but here yes. So if I have a table that is in front of my section, I have to draw the table as well as I can see these edges of my window, so I will draw them even if they are not cut. So if I have something like this, let's see how to go from a floor plan to a section, and I will draw this house section. So if I make a floor plan of this house, it will be like this. There is the door. Here there is the wall. Here there is the window. And I said window, so I have to make these two lines in here. This is the door, so I have to draw it like this. Okay? And because the roof is angled, I will also draw this dashed line to tell me where I have the change into the slope, where is the center of my roof. So if I want to make my section, I have to place my section line, that in reality is a cutting plane, and I will add 2 arrows to let people understand where I am looking at. So once that I have this information, I'm ready. I can make my ground line. So this is the ground. And again, this and these are parallel. So what I have to do is, and in my house, in here, there is a table with 4 legs. And here there is a chair. So when I make my section, I need to do this. Starting from one side, I will say, okay, I can see that here my wall is cut by the section line. So I can see this edge. I can see whatever is this other intersection. I keep going and I start thinking that the chair is behind my section plane. So even if there is a chair in this particular section, the chair won't appear. The door remains behind this plane. The door in this section, again, it won't appear. But I have this part of the table. This is visible because it is in front of my section, so I will project it. And I will see also legs of the table. So I will start projecting all these lines. Then I can also see that on top my section is cutting the roof. So I will also project middle line, that is where the roof is. I will also see that my section is intersecting wall in these 2 points, so I will project these and I will project that. Now I need to consider the height of all these elements. So I will start, let's say, by the roof. I don't know, I've measured that the roof is 4 meters, so I will stop the roof in here. I know that, I don't know, the height of my walls on the side is 3 meters, so I will stop them here and here. And because my house has this sloped roof, inside it will be like this. But wall have thickness, so roof has thickness as well. So the same thickness that I have into my wall is something that I have to offset and I have to find outside my roof. Then in here I have no windows, so the wall will go till the ground. In here, instead, it is a little bit more complex because I'm cutting a window. So what I see is this. I know that here, this is the wall in section, so it is vertical. But it is also true that these points that I have projected are a lower part of my window that is at 1 meter of height. And in floor plan I don't see them, but the window doesn't go till the ceiling. The window has a certain height, so I have to make another line in here. Same thing for the table. The table is correctly projected, but the table is not that tall. The table, let's say, will go till 80 centimeters. So I will draw a line here. And also, the top of the table is not super thick. Let's say it would be 5 centimeters. So it will be like that. And I have finished it, or almost. I will simply understand that this is lower part of the wall underneath the window. So this is cut, and I can also, just to increase the visibility, I will put hatch in here. This is where the windows are, so maybe here I will just put one line to indicate that this is the glass that is cut, but I will simply leave these yellow thin lines. And above the window it starts again the wall. The wall then becomes the roof, and I will start adding hatch. It goes on the other side of the house, like this. It goes till the ground, because on the opposite side there are no windows, as we can see in floor plan. I will instead draw the table that is visible, but it is not cut, so I will just draw it like these. And I'm drawing it with color, but in AutoCAD you will simply trim those lines. So the only thing that is remaining is we need to understand that in here there is the ground that has also a certain thickness. It can be just a line. So what I will do is underneath the ground line, I will offset my ground by using same thickness that I use for external walls, and I will let the people understand that even the floor on my ground floor has a certain structure, a certain thickness. Okay? So this is basically how you create a section from your floor plan. So by projecting cut and visible vertices, and by giving all of those projections their real height. Till here, is it fine? Tell me yes, no, maybe. Let me know. Yes, no, please. Oh, perfect. Okay, it looks like it is fine. So, just before using AutoCAD to do same thing, I need to remind one simple thing. There is, when you make a section, it is right method to make it is that the ground line must always be not only parallel to your section line, but it must also stay on the same side that is where arrows of your section are pointing at. So if my section has arrows that are pointing up, I will make my ground line above this line and it would be parallel. But if I was making a section like this, so a section that is vertical and it is pointing to the left, when I make my section, I need to make my ground line like this, so that when you make the construction of your section at the beginning, the construction will have this orientation. It is rotated, okay? So this, for example, will be this section here, where I can see that there is a door, okay, and my section will be like this. This is the ground, this is the door, perfect. At the beginning it is rotated, so you build it really in a rotated angle, and these are instead just in elevation, so you must draw them just with a thin line. And you have to draw it like this, but when you will make your final drawing, you will simply, at the end of the construction, you will rotate it to have right orientation and not to being forced in looking at the drawing by bending your neck. Okay? So if this is clear, what we need to understand is how to do it in AutoCAD. That, believe it or not, is easiest part of this explanation, because what is complex is understanding what we have to draw. So look here. What I will do is I will draw a quick floor plan in millimeters. So 2000. Okay, this would be 300. Okay, I mean, nothing impossible. 300. Okay, so I'm just creating a floor plan that has more or less realistic dimensions. Okay, so this in millimeters should be like a small house, and it will have 2 rooms. Okay, so I'm not using any dimension, but I started just at the beginning by using dimensions simply because it is not really important the overall precision, but at least it has to be something that it makes sense in a realistic dimension. So exactly, let's say you have these, this these are two rooms. In here I will place a door. I don't even mind how big the door or the windows are, but just realistic in millimeters. Okay. So I've made these architectural masterpiece, but this would be insanely beautiful simply after putting, as I said, a table in here. So I will put a table. The table will have 4 legs. And I use mirror to add legs. But if I keep it like this will be boring. I want to spice up things a little bit, and I will put the table like that. Because if not, let me tell you, it would have been too easy. I mean, too easy. Almost boring, I would say. So, see what I do now. I have to make a new layer because section line must be, even in AutoCAD, made with a dashed dotted line. So I make a new layer. I call it section lines. And beside the color that should be changed, but most important thing is that into the line type you have to load this one, the one that is called ISO dash dot, and you have to select it. So I make my section line in here. That would be a very complex point because this line will cut my window, it will make this table visible, it will cut this door, it will make this window visible, and it will cut this wall here. So this cannot be continuous. I have to move it on my section lines menu. After doing this, I can see that this line is dash dot, but the scale of this line type is too small, so I select it. I go to, like I explained last week, I go to line type scale into the properties and I increase it, let's say 4, even 5. So that I can see that this is my section line. I need to tell me first and my viewers where is the direction that I am using. So I will add an arrow here, and there is no need of being extremely precise, just an arrow here, but then you have to copy from this vertex same arrow from the beginning till the end of your section line. So from even if I see a partial view of my house, this must be clearly visible. So section arrows are in both vertices of my section line. Okay? Till here? Let me see the chat. Till here, everything is fine? Perfect. And now the fun begins, because what I have to do is I have to draw a line that will be on the same direction of where arrows are pointing at, this will be my ground line. And what I have to do is I have to start from the left, from the right. I have to start thinking this. Look, starting from the left, this section line intersects my wall here. So I point my mouse in here. I make a line that is perpendicular to this direction. And this will be the projection of this point. So let me highlight it like this. It is the projection of this point. But on the same line, I can see that there is also this point. So they are just matching. Then I will keep reading where section is intersecting my house. So next is here. So I click in here and I project this. I will make the table afterward, but let's continue by reading walls. So the question is, my section is here. So if I am here, for you, can I see this edge of the door or not? I will answer. The answer is yes. I can see this edge. So I click it and I project it. I can see this. Yep, exactly. Yes, yes, yes. I can see this one and I project it. But now I won't ruin the surprise. But if I am here, for you, can I see this edge of the room? Yes or not? This one. I will see the chat. So can I see this edge of my room or not? If my section is here. No, exactly. Nope. So I won't draw anything. I will keep reading what my section is able to see. It is able to see this corner instead of the window. And I will project it. This corner of the window. This intersection with the wall. And this intersection with the wall. So for now, I have projected all visible elements that are in the structure of my house. I have skipped the table just for a second. I will do it later. And what I need to understand now is simply this. This is my ground. So this is where I will be like this. Okay, I'm standing in on top of here. So this is where I have my feet. So this is the height that is 0. But all points that I have projected, they all have a different height. So I need basically to understand that this part of the window has wall from the ground till a certain height. Then I can only see these edges. But then after a certain height, the wall will start again. So what I have to do is, by following these simple rules, I have to start setting the height for all my elements. There are multiple ways to do it. Last week we've seen... No, I deleted myself too. It's okay. Last week we've seen one way for stairs that was I draw a line in here and then I move it or offset. Do whatever you want. It is fine. For example, I like a lot to use offset because I can type height for my objects. So for example, if I know that the window starts at 1 meter and ends after an additional 1.5 meter, what I will do is I click offset. I'm working in millimeters, so 1 meter is 1000. I select the ground and I offset up. But this is basically like the balustrade height of my window. Then I make another offset. Let's say the window is 1.5 meters tall, so I type 1500 millimeters and I offset this part in here. And then by selecting these two lines, there are the wall lines where the window is, I will trim the excess of these two lines and I will just keep that small part that is inside. I will do same thing here where I have the door. The door is 2 meters tall, so I go to offset. I type 2000 and I offset the ground up. And by selecting those two lines that are my door, I will trim the excess of this height. In here, I have another window. So let's pretend that it has same dimensions of my previous one. So I will offset 1000, sorry, not 100. My ground line up and then offset this line 8500 up. And now, because this is not starting from the ground, this is a window, I will select both couples of lines, projections and height lines. I will click trim and I will trim all the excess of these 4 crossing lines. And this is the window that is not cut. This is projected, so this is visible in elevation, but it is visible from here. I have almost done, and I need to understand something, that is, when I am inside this room, where is the ceiling height? So till where the room can be used. Let's say it is 3 meters, that in millimeters is 3000. So I click offset, 3000, and I make the offset of my floor up, and how unlucky I am, these are not touching, but this is where the ceiling arrives. So my walls are reaching the ceiling and they are starting from the ground, so I will select the ceiling and the ground together and I will trim the excess of my wall above the excess of my wall below. And I have almost done, because my structures there are the floor underneath and the roof above. In this case, let's keep it flat. They can be just two lines. They must have a structural thickness. And I don't know, because I can measure, to measure thickness of a floor is very complex. You should drill a hole and measure it. So just use same offset of your outer wall. Let's say this was, I think it was 300 that I typed when I've made the floor plan. So I offset 300 and I offset ceiling up, floor down. And I finish by connecting, and this is beautiful, inner wall line with lower ceiling, inner wall, lower ceiling, and I trim. I have to connect inner wall with inner floor, so this and this. And I have to select inner wall with the floor, and I trim the excess. But I have to connect outer wall with the top of my line and the bottom of my line. So I select these two and these two, and I will use trim, but they are not touching. So before using trim, instead of clicking, I will shift and click to extend, shift, click to extend. Now I select them again and I trim these parts. And I have almost done. There are two more things that I have to do, but they will be beautiful. First thing that I have to do is understanding this. Where I have a window that is cut by the section, the window and the floor are continuously cut. So in here there must be no line. Same below the window, same above the window. And the same aspect happens only above the door, but not below, because if this is a door, in here I can walk through, so there must be no interruption, while above, this small tiny segment must disappear. So I will select this line, I will click trim, and I will trim this small part in here. If I am right, when I put, let's say, hatch to make my cut part more visible, hatch should stay inside my walls, inside the wall on top of the window, inside of the wall on top of the door, inside the continuous walls, underneath the ground. But if I am 100% correct, I have to see no hatch where the door is cut by the section and where the window is cut by the section. I will just use a nicer looking hatch like this. I close it and I have basically finished my section. I have only to add a few more details just to make it, I would say, prettier, but more or less I have finished it. So what I will do to make it prettier, I will add a few details, like I will add here, if this is, let's say, if this is like a double window, I will add these rectangles. You can be more precise, but it is not really important. But I will add these two rectangles to see that there is the frame and there is a window. As well as I will add a rectangle with a line and another rectangle here and another rectangle here and one line from midpoint to midpoint. This is just a way to tell that here there is a window that is cut, and this is the frame of the window. This is the glass panel, but this is cut by the section line, and this is instead in front of my section line. And I've done this because someone don't remember if by mail or last week, asked what if I have glass panels in elevations. To show that this is glass, you just need to add hatch inside. But you have not to use same hatch that you have used for sections, while you have to use a hatch that is called, let's see if I find it, it's called this one, AR roof. You use this one. You have to angle these 45 degrees. Okay? And if you want, you can change a little bit the size. So let's say if I make it a little bit smaller, like this. And this is how, in technical drawing, you display glass panels that are visible, while where they are cut, you just draw them like one single line. Okay? Till here? Because what remains now is just drawing the table, and the table will look amazing, I promise you. So, till here. Is it clear? Very good. I'm so happy. I mean, very nice. So, if this is clear, let's finish the section by drawing the table. The table is in front of the line, so it is visible, and what I have to do is I have to treat it like I have done all these other elements. So, what I will do is I will start understanding if I can see this edge from here, and the answer is yes. So I will click it, project it. I can see this edge of the leg of my table. Yes. I go here, project it. I can't see this one because it is covered by this face of the leg, so I will just draw this one. And I will keep doing these for all my legs, no, my table legs. So I can see these, I can see that. I can't see this one because it is hidden by this face, and I will keep making this. I will finish quickly by doing this, by doing that. This one, fantastic. This, and this. Perfect. So the table is something that starts from the ground. So first thing that I will do is I select my ground, line, and I click trim, and I trim whatever goes underneath to avoid confusion. But the table is also something that from the ground has a certain height. Let's say it is 80 centimeters tall, so I offset. I type 800 because we're working in millimeters, and I offset the ground up. Let's say this is the top of the table. So I select the top, and for sure no legs will go on top of the table. So I will click trim, and I will trim all these elements. But as my table is made, I can see that the edge of the table matches one edge of each leg. So I can also select these two extreme legs. I can click trim, and I will trim this and that. And I have almost done, because the table itself can be just one line. I mean, even if it is glass tables are very thick, and let's say they are like 8 or 12 millimeters of visible thickness. Let's make these even more visible. Let's say this is a wooden table, so it has the top of the table that is at least 8 centimeters thick. Not because it is 8 centimeters of wood, but because it has edges all around that are 8 centimeters thick. So I will offset. 8 centimeters is 80 millimeters, and I will offset down. But then check this. I select this line, I click trim, and I will trim 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, because this is the back leg, 1 and 2. Because this is the edge of the top that is also the edge of the leg, and I can see that it matches. This is the edge of the top, so is the only one that I will leave. In here, this edge of the top of my table is hidden, so I can't see it, so I won't draw it. And this one is last edge of the table, and this is how my angled table will look like in this particular view that is called section. But section because it is cutting certain elements. There are those sorry again. They are highlighted by the hatch, but I can also see in elevation whatever is there. Okay? Till here? Let me know. Yes? No? Maybe? Probably? Let's see. Let's see. Perfect. I know. You know, I'm planning to make a line of t-shirts or sweaters with my most famous quotes, like perfect or unbelievable or fantastic. I mean, I'm thinking about it. So, someone makes a serious question that says, what if there was a chair near the table? Huh. If there is a chair, I will, you know, like real YouTuber says, I will link the merchandise into the description down below. So, what if there were a chair? So, let's make a chair. Let's say this is my chair. And again, I just draw legs, even if they are not visible, by the way. So I use mirror to quickly make these legs. And I draw also the back of the chair. Let's say like this. So, if there is a chair, the only thing that changes, no, I don't like this one, is that the process is longer. But, and let's make it angle, of course, because if not, and even with a different angle, like this. So let's say, not only this chair is here, but this chair is there. So very complex. Because in floor plan, in your final floor plan, this part will be hidden. And legs will be hidden too. Okay? As well as table legs. I just have to draw them for construction purpose. And I will simply have to repeat this process. I want to show you one very slightly quicker technique to do it. That is, instead of clicking and drawing, clicking and drawing, clicking and drawing, once that you make your first line, you can simply hit copy. You can select as a starting point your vertex, and then you have simply to copy these lines whenever you see a visible edge. If you ask yourself why I've drawn this one because it is not visible, the reality is that this is not visible for the leg, but it is visible for the back of the chair. So, making a chair is only annoyingly long, but nothing impossible. So look, you just offset, let's say 430. Offset 430 your ground line. This is where the sit arrives. Then you can start by removing and getting rid of a lot of lines by selecting the ground by using trim, and you will remove all these lines. you can select the seat, you hit trim, and you will start removing this unwanted lines. Let me see here. I can trim these and that. Perfect. Here there is 1, 2, 3, 1 in the middle I have to leave. So I have to trim 1. In the middle I have to leave 2 and 3. And all of those. And this as well. Perfect! So now I offset, like I did for the table, the thickness of the seat underneath, let's say 50 millimeters down, and I will start trimming. So I select where the chair starts and ends is here. So I trim these and that. It's just about trimming. I trim these here. I trim these, and that. I trim these. I don't trim these. I trim that. Perfect. And I trim whatever is inside the chair, because the chair is covering now this leg of the table, so it will basically stay in front of the table. So I finish by, oops, here I've made a mistake, this is here. And then let's say the chair finishes up here, so I trim this, and here. Boom! And I have my fancy looking chair that is in front of the table. Exactly. I mean, there is a hierarchy to understand of elements that are covering other elements. So, if this is the leg of the table, the leg is visible as well as legs of the chair are visible vertically, but the horizontal plane of the chair is covering a little portion of the leg of the table. Okay? And as well as here into floor plan, it happens the same. Things that are above are hiding things that are underneath. So my final floor plan will correctly look like that. And this is the elevation. It's just, believe it or not, making sections is not complex in terms of using AUTOCAD tools, because if you see, I'm using 3 tools. I'm using line, I'm using offset, and I'm using trim. So in AUTOCAD, level of complexity, let's say, is 0, but is the construction of the section that requires a lot of attention and preparation. So you must be precise in understanding what is visible, what is not, what is hidden, what is not, which elements are in front, which elements are below. And there are a few more things that you need to know. For example, rule number 1, if I'm so unlucky that there is a furniture right in the middle of my section line, what I need to think is, if this is a fixed furniture, like let's say in here, imagine if I have a walk-in closet and I have a lot of shelves that are fixed into the wall. It happens this: if my elements, even if they are furniture, if they are fixed so I can't move them, like wardrobes, kitchen, sanitary blocks, if I have these things, then yes, they will appear as cut elements in my section. So let's say exactly, but not this hatch. I want the one that I've used it for section. This one. 0 degrees. Okay. So if my objects are fixed furniture, I will cut them like they are walls. But if my furniture are furniture that I've placed there because, like the chair is a movable furniture. So if it is a movable furniture, this object won't appear in my section. So this object is not there, and in my section this won't appear. It appears if I draw it here, yes, but it doesn't appear if for any chance it is cut by the line or it is behind my section line. This is rule number 1, how to deal with furniture. So furniture are visible but never cut unless they are built-in furniture elements, like built-in wardrobes, niches inside the wall, and stuff like that. Rule number 2. So, let's write them. So, rule number 1. Furniture. Built-in furniture are cut if they are intersected by the section line. If not, don't show them. That is very simple. It is just this. Rule number 2, and this is extremely important. When you make a section, you need to make a section by being sure that you are adding in your drawing as many details that you can. So it is a good way to make a section to being able to place your section so that one section line intersects as many doors and windows as possible. So if you have a house that has doors and windows, I know if you have a house, houses or architectural objects have doors and windows. So when you choose where to place section lines, this is perfect. because with one section I will cut this window, this door, and I will see this window as well. But if I am lazy and I say, you know what, I will make a section and I will place, look, my section here and here, so that in reality my section is cutting wall, nothing, wall, nothing, wall. So the only information about window that I see will be this window in elevation. This position for a section line is wrong. Just wrong. So rule number 2 says section must cut, let's write C, must cut as many doors and windows as you can. Okay, this is extremely important as a rule. But there is another rule that is extremely important. It is wrong to place section lines inside walls that are parallel to the section line. What it means? It means this. If I want to make a section and I want to show my client a section of this space here only, what I have to do is I have to place my section line or here, it has to be dash dot, or here, and this would be fine. But the problem is that if my client sees this second section, it is a little bit tricky because it looks like the room is narrower. So it is fine to show this additional section because I will show him the entire width of this room, but it will be 100% wrong to place a section line here, a section line that goes inside this wall and this part of my section line. You can see it is parallel to this wall. So my section line is going inside the wall. And again, this position of my section line, it is wrong. 100% wrong. Okay, and this was rule number 3. There are a few more rules, but till here, are these section line rules clear or not? So, furniture, movable furniture, forget them. Fixed furniture, cut them. Rule number 2, cut as many doors and windows that you can. Rule number 3, don't put the line inside a parallel wall like this. These are 3 major section line rules. There is more. There is this. Sections must be built by following the orientation of section line, but then they must be correctly displayed. What it means? It simply means that if I want to make this section here, and look how precise I am making a section that is perfectly going so that this chair is not visible, this chair is visible, and the door is cut. But this is cutting vertically. So when I build this section, I have to repeat all steps that I have done by making my ground line like this. So the rule to follow is always the same. My ground line must be parallel to the section line. I have to project points to be sure that they are perpendicular to my ground line, like these, like that. I have to do exactly the same things that I've done before. I have to make offset, and I will offset 300 for the depth here, offset 3000 for the height here, offset 300 for these. I have the window. I have to offset 1000, offset, 8000 for the window, offset 1500 for these, and then I have to make a lot of trim. So I will select all of these and I will start trimming all unwanted lines. This is the door. This is like this. This is the window. Perfect. I forgot the door, so I have to make last offset. The offset of the door is 2000. So I offset here. Perfect. And I trim these. So this would be the section of this side of the house. In here I should put something beautiful like these, but just to show you. The problem is that if I see this drawing, it's like I'm reading the drawing by using my head tilted like that. So when I build the section must be built with this weird, uncomfortable orientation. But only when I am happy, sorry, I zoomed too fast. But when I am happy with the result, I have to select it and I have to rotate it so that at the end I will use hatch by having same orientation of my first section, because if not, the hatch will be also rotated. So now I will put details and whatever. I mean, I could put this even before, but not the hatch. I will put the hatch when I will fix the orientation of my drawing, so that I will put section hatch in here. The angle is 0, the scale was 20. Okay. And I will put hatch into the glass, but the hatch was AR roof, and the scale was 10 and 45 degrees. So only at the end I will rotate the section to have in all my sections right orientation. So when I read my drawings, I will stand here, I will stand here, okay, and I won't have a drawing that is vertical, another it is horizontal, because when you do, let's say, a section, that is looking down, your section will be upside down, and you have to rotate it 180 degrees to correctly orient it. Last thing for today is this. The section, when you make one section, if your building has one floor, one section will look like this. But if your building has 2 or more floors, one section, take care, one section is a section. So this is not rule number 4. This will be rule number 0. So rule of the rules, section, or to be precise, one section goes from floor to roof, and that is considered one section. The way you will build it will be you build smaller sections floor by floor, level by level, but one section goes from the ground till last floor. So take a picture of these, use this as a desktop background to remember it, because if I have more floors, they are all like these. Let's say I have, so if I duplicate this one, but let's change something. Let's say in my additional floor I have not these shelf, and I will delete them from here, and maybe the roof is not flat, but the roof will be like this. So just to change something, and I will offset 300 this line, and I will extend them. I mean, it's not 100% precise, but it is fine. Just to show you a quick example. Okay. Oops, forgot the here. Perfect. And I have to remove these. And I have to trim. Shift and click to extend. And trim here. So let's see, this is my last floor. What you need to understand is that you will draw these two sections as separate sections because it is more convenient. But your single section will be like in reality. In reality, this is your ground floor. And this is your first floor. In reality, they are not one next to the other. You draw them one next to the other, but in reality this is on top of that. So, like in reality, this is on top of that. In your section, you will place this on top of that by being sure that you don't do one of the most common mistake, that is this. A lot of people just do this. Pick. And this is wrong because what you have drawn in your lower section, so this area here, this area that for your lower floor is the ceiling, it is also the floor for your next level. So this part and this part are in reality as they have been drawn twice. So when you put a section on top of another, just remember that this line here in reality is already this line, as well as this line here is already this one. So when you have multiple sections, you have not just to place one on top of the other, but these two lines must overlap. So I will, for now, delete the hatch to avoid confusion. I will move this section so that the top line matches top line and the bottom line matches bottom line. Then I will simply delete these additional elements that are just overlapping, and boom! I have my phenomenal single section that is cutting all floors of my building, and I will put my section hatch only at the end of this process. Boom, like that. But don't make this mistake. These are not two sections because you are cutting ground and first floor. They are not two sections. This is one section going floor to roof. Okay? Is this clear? Because if this is clear for today, I have finished it. Let me see. So that you have now enough elements to really... Perfect! I'm so happy. So that you have enough element to start really making very detailed technical drawings about your final projects. And if you don't mind, if you have already done elements of your final project, be so nice to upload them into the AUTOCAD, into your AUTOCAD folder, and be so nice to just send me a message to confirm that you have uploaded something about your final project, because I would like to see what you're doing, so that the next class, by collecting things that you are drawing or that you would like to draw in your final project, I will explain things that are more specific for your interior projects. Okay? Can you do this? Let's see. Perfect! So, awesome! So, for today, this is enough. I will stop this video now. Because then I have another class, and as usual, if you have problems, send me mail so that I will try to answer, and let me know when you will upload your final project contents so that I will start giving a look. Okay? But for now, it has been a pleasure. Bye, everyone. As usual, have fun, not too much, and we will see each other next week, Thursday. Bye. Let's stop this.